Pickleball,
baby!
There we go. Did that sound like a cannon? Did that sound like something like Natalie hits the ball so hard it sounds like a cannon sometimes?
Okay.
Anyway, welcome to the NaLa Pickleball
Yes.
podcast. I am your host, Lori Burgett, and with me is
Natalie Fisher, co-host extraordinaire.
the hostess with the mostest, she says.
Yes, hostess
All
with
right.
the mostest.
I believe
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
So today we want to talk about the health benefits of
Yes.
pickleball. Because, we do spend a lot of time doing that.
Yeah,
I think we're
we
both
do.
in our lives because we're athletes. I've always wanted to stay in shape, particularly for the career that I had, obviously, but
The
also
career.
the career, obviously to also, I want a good quality of life.
Right.
And that's
Absolutely.
one of the reasons we play pickleball. And so we want to talk a little bit about the myths and the conversations and the injuries we've seen in terms of pickleball. I've tried to get people to play, and some of my close friends, and they
Right.
say, I don't want to hurt myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, or one was actually, so this is very strange. One was actually she's a world-class runner, like does
Right.
triathlons.
Oh, yeah.
And I hadn't seen her on the court for a while, so I saw her and I'm like, hey, why are you on the pickleball court? And she said, I don't want to hurt myself. And I'm like,
Oh, gosh.
I really feel like a world-class runner is in more danger of hurting themselves.
Agreed.
But I understood it, she's a great athlete. But, and so, because we just got our certifications and our coaching, one of the big things that was highlighted and one of the things that we had to read about a lot was making sure that we, stretched out, that we prepared ourselves, that we understood what to expect from pickleball. I think
Right.
a lot of people think it's an old people sport, which I'm fine with, obviously. I think,
Yeah.
old people got to play too. So,
Right.
But also I think what most people don't know and that the sport is growing. And I read, and I told you this,
Yeah.
I read that the age group that is now joining pickleball at the highest rate is 18 to 24.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, it's changing and
Changing a
evolving. And yes. And yeah.
And the reason that's important is they're fast.
they are
They
fast.
hit hard. They learn
do.
quickly.
They do.
And so there's a evolution that takes place that you
Yeah.
kind of have to keep up with.
Right.
But also because Natalie and I have an aspiration to play at the highest level possible, hopefully to play senior pro.
Right.
Being fit
Is important.
really a big part of the game. But I think I was probably one of those people in the beginning that thought, oh, it's really not going to be that hard.
Right.
Or it's not going to be that, but it's intense. Like if you play at a competitive level, or any level, you start to, I know few people who get involved that don't become addicted. I think most of them, then they're
that's
out there
true.
on the court like a lot or every day or in the morning, at night. And for me, when I started getting really into it and really wanted and started taking coaching lessons and that kind of thing, I realized, if you're going to do it right, if your technique is right, you do spend a lot of time activating glutes, legs,
Right.
your
Yeah.
arms and your shoulder movement, your
Yeah.
focus. Natalie can explain a little better, but as a tennis player, she knows to use her whole body, from the foot.
I use my body.
Yeah, to really just kind of, hit the ball hard, to really put your whole body and the rotation into it. And that rotation sometimes can be challenging
Right.
when you start to feel a little bit of injury. So that's kind of what we talk about. I know from playing table tennis, and I used to read about this, especially as I aged. I read that the mental aspect to playing table tennis was huge. So for like cognitive decline, which happens when people age,
Right.
if you want to stay sharp,
Yeah.
and make sure that you're thinking quickly. Pickleball and or table tennis is the same in that you are trying to make a decision about where the ball is going to be hit. And so
Yeah.
you're predicting where it's going to go, how it's going to bounce, and then you've got to hit it back, hopefully in a position that you want to hit it. So that's really hard with cognition.
I struggle
So
with
it's-
that for sure.
Well, yeah, mostly that you're just like blocking, hoping
Right,
it's back.
right, yeah.
But the cognition factor to me is such a big deal. Not just older people, but anybody, especially if you start to understand the strategy of the game, because it makes you think. Your thinking skills are
Yes.
so fast. But also, your core is important. I read somewhere that you use a lot of your glutes.
Yes.
So whenever you're at a pickleball tournament and they happen to have like a table there, like a
table.
like a table where they have the physical
masseuse?
therapist.
Oh,
or
yeah,
masseuse.
yeah.
Anytime you go by one of those things, everybody's in the same position. which is usually on their back.
Wow.
And usually rotated over because
Yes.
it's a rotation movement.
Yeah.
And they've got the, the little thumper or whatever.
Well, you're in a squatting position a lot of times
Yeah.
if you're doing it right.
Right.
But, aside from like the muscle, the cognitive, I'll tell you, so my own personal experience. So I started playing pickleball about 2.5 years ago. And again, I mean, when I started, I was at a, kind of a low point in my life. And I'd had COVID where I was hospitalized and all that stuff. So I was quite a bit heavier than I am. And I will tell you, pickleball has been so transformative. And again, I play a lot, but I've lost over 50 pounds. And people that know me, I think they might lie to me, but they go, oh my God, no way. I can't believe you were ever that big or whatever. And you always, you carried it so well and whatever. They say all the stuff. But I will tell you, just from playing pickleball, in addition to the things that I had already been doing, just by adding that into my life and my repertoire, it has been transformative as far as like now how I can move on the court and how I feel and it's been so great for fitness. So I mean, don't let that dissuade you from anything. And when you hear about those injuries, I would say, to Lori's point, like people don't necessarily take it that seriously. They just go out there. And I've seen this happen.
Yes.
Like I've witnessed this where somebody goes out who has probably never done anything athletic in their life at all. They're wearing jeans and flip-flops, and then they go on a court and something takes over, and then they run for a ball, and then they trip on their flip-flop and they face plant. Now I'm talking about a specific situation that I saw. And this poor woman, I mean, she bloodied her face, and I felt so horrible. But the injuries happen because people don't take it seriously.
Right.
And I mean, again, if you're taking up a sport at a later time in your life and you've never done anything athletic, give yourself a little bit of grace. Maybe, take the time to stretch, to warm up, and those are all really critical things. And then the proper equipment, that's the one thing. When we got our certification, they kind of like drill it into you about proper equipment. And when we talk about equipment, it's about like proper shoes on the court, and it's really important. And I think if you do those things, you can really mitigate a lot of that risk on the court. But then you get like to where we're kind of crazy and obsessed and we play all the time. And then you start to get those kind of overuse, and then you just take a couple of days off and then you kind of hit it again. But,
especially at a competitive level, if you're wanting the technique to be right, you're squatting, you're low. I mean, pay attention to some of the pros. I mean, you can see all that stuff online, the games, or in person. You can really see they're really very low. Yeah, and you can hit the ball. And if you're staying in that kind of position for 3 or 4 games, I mean, you'll definitely feel it in your glutes, you feel it in your hamstring, and then it calls on you to be dynamic, to chase a ball that's maybe hit way wide or one that's hit short. And so there's these short bursts of kind of energy that can cause, some hamstring injuries or things like that.
Yeah. Or your calves, Achilles.
Oh,
but you got to be really careful. Yeah. So,
it's warm up.
It is. It's warm up and stretching.
I know there are people who think it isn't a sport, but it is a sport. You must warm up. Take a little jog around the court before you start. You're using a lot of lateral motion, which people don't really understand and end up crossing their feet sometimes and trip themselves up. Yeah. So the proper footwear is really necessary. If you're wearing, you have to have the tennis sole or the flat sole so that you can slide across the court. If you have anything chunkier than that, or like running shoes or whatever,
you can roll an ankle.
It'll grab the court and you'll fall over. But the other thing is eye injury.
Eye injury. Yes. Okay. Yes. So
apparently that's pretty prevalent, and apparently it can be so bad that people
have detached retinas. They lose an
eye.
And I did when I had my eye injury, and I'll explain it a little bit. I was convinced that if I did lose an eye or if I lost vision, I was going to rock a patch and I was going to bling it out. So that was my plan.
It was going to be in a leopard's skin.
It was something. But anyway, no, it's true. So I was that person. I was like, it's a wiffle ball. And everyone's like, how hard can it be? Like, it can be hit hard and it can hurt. So be wary. And I never wore eye protection. I never wore sunglasses, nothing. And happened to be playing actually against you and your partner in the semifinals of our club. Well, they won by default, okay? No, but we were playing in our club championship in the
Right.
semifinals, and it was a big match, and you're
was.
playing your partner, and so there's all this energy around that. And it happened to be a little bit of a windy day. Well, anyway, I happened to be on the same side of the court as my mixed doubles partner, and I was looking right at him when he was about to hit the ball, and he hit the ball really hard, but instead of it going across the court, it ricocheted off the side of his paddle and went directly into my right eye. And I went down in very dramatic fashion.
So dramatic.
It was,
I wish I had
mean,
video.
I know.
No,
I
but
know.
I could tell it hit you. I said that either hit her in the eye or the nose.
Yeah.
I mean,
so-
it hit hard. It really did ricochet.
Yeah,
quickly
just like
off that
right off the
paddle.
paddle. And I was such close proximity.
Yeah.
And I went down and
Yeah.
I was on the court, and the people there were quite a few people
There were.
watching, and they were like, like the
Yeah.
gasps and everything. And
That was scary.
yeah, and I was like, I was kind of in a state of shock, and I literally, I thought maybe I lost an eye, because I'd never had like an eye injury, so it was weird and it was scary, and anyway, so luckily I still have my right eye.
Yeah,
I am
survived
not
all
rocking
that.
a patch, but I would if I needed to, and I now wear protective eyewear
All the time.
But what's interesting is I don't like to have anything obstructing my eye, and like wearing glasses or any kind of a lens. So what I do, and now, some of our friends do it and you do it and everything, is I just get really, really cheap, inexpensive glasses, and I pop out the lens.
Right.
And so it provides a barrier around your eye so that, and we test it, we take a ball and we're like, okay, can it hit our eye? Can it hit our eye? If it's, and so it does protect it.
So
yeah.
what I've now everybody talks about this, especially if somebody gets hurt. But what I've heard is that the wiffle ball, even though it looks like it wouldn't hit your eye, it can actually fit in the orbit of your eye, around your
Yeah.
orbital bones. And if it hits it directly, that's what's causing some of that detached retina. Because I have an app that I can track the speed of the ball. I can tell you that Natalie, at one point, the highest I've seen it hit is 53 miles an hour. So if you have that come at you in close proximity right to your eye, that can cause some damage. Just like, and of course, your first action is to flinch. So it's okay if something hits your eye.
Right.
But
right.
we're not, there's certainly tons of actual safety goggles out there that have been tested
Right.
and that kind of
Right.
thing. I always wear sunglasses when I play, so I'm fine. And then you have those that are a lot stronger. Some of them are pricey. But I'm just saying, if you're going to put at least something on your eyes, and think about that. Even if you wear a hat, it can help with some of the deflections.
But I did have a hat on. But
Oh, yeah.
I think it was a rally cap
went
at that
right.
point, so it was.
You turned
yeah,
it had to
yeah.
be a rally cap, I'm sure.
Yeah. Although we were winning. Just
I was
for the
very
record.
concerned about Natalie at the time.
Oh,
and
so
when she
concerned.
stopped crying, I said, we won now.
Yeah. She was so concerned.
And you just go, no.
Yeah. So you get a 10 minute, I guess, injury timeout. And we had passed the 10-minute time period. And both her and her partner made a point to get in my face while I was sobbing with ice on my face to tell me that they won.
I gave you the eyes. Just so I gave you the
She
eyes.
was a sweetheart, yeah.
No.
So anyway, so it just to be cautious, but even all of those things should not be a reason to not take up this thing that is so incredibly
vulnerable. So your eyes are so vulnerable.
Your
And
eyes
your
are
nose
vulnerable.
or whatever else
Yeah.
it hits is also, but the eyes definitely are very vulnerable
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
An
but it's
injury.
like any sport. If
I've been hit with paddles as well.
yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, you get close enough, you're going to get hit with paddles. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing, is just treat it like any other sport. Warm up, know your limitations.
Right.
If you have injuries, kind of deal with that. Understand the motion. Understand that you will feel sore. Take breaks. You don't need to.
And if you
practice
are
every
a
day.
former athlete of any high school, college, whatever,
Right.
and you're maybe a little more advanced in age, just understand that.
Yeah.
Because I still think in our brains, we're going back to our 20-year-old, competitors, and we're like, we just can't do that.
I
And
definitely
that's-
feel some injury. Well, and here's the other thing you do is cross train. One of the things that I did because I wanted to get better at pickleball was I stopped. I wasn't going to the gym as much as I used to. I was always in the gym or hiking, just cross train and make sure that your legs are strong, your calves are strong. And then also after you play,
Right.
stretch out, knowing that the Achilles is, I think it's a pretty frequent injury in the calves because you're always on your toes.
Right.
So just make sure you're doing, seek a professional's help, whatever we have to. But if you look online, there's some really great
stretches, and there's so much.
And it's
out
all
there.
pickleball related now
Right.
too, so you can find them.
Right.
So, we want you to play and keep playing. We want it to be a lifelong thing. So make sure you're.
And if you seek our help, we're here to help you.
Yeah.
You just have to go to NaLaPickleball.com, which currently there's not necessarily any information. You can actually contact us though through the website, but we'd love to help you and share with you. And one of the other things that I've actually kind of learned from Lori is, self-care is really important, and it's not necessarily a luxury. It's like we get this one vessel to carry us through our lives, and so
Right.
to take care of it. So, now massage is part of our kind of regular routine, and she made me do cold
Ice
plunge. Oh my
baths.
God, it was awful.
No,
I'm just
they're
gonna
the
tell
best.
you.
I mean, I hate it too, but
Yeah.
the way you feel afterwards, you can see it. It's all over.
Yeah.
It's even in our gym now.
Yeah.
So you go to the gym and they
have-
have the ice plunges there, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I get in my pool in the winter. That's
Right.
also
Yeah.
an ice
But
plunge.
anyway, so it's really important. So that is a part of the sport that you have to be mindful of. Because again, it is a sport. And again, whatever level you play at, just do yourself a favor, warm up, stretch, so that you can continue to enjoy it like we do.
Yeah,
So
and make sure your technique is there, and then stretch after and
Yeah.
and rest between. That if something starts to ache, you need to rest.
Yeah.
Before it becomes worse. So anyway, lifelong care, and maybe sometime in the future, what we really like to do is get some experts in the field to show us some
Yeah,
stretches,
absolutely.
warm ups, and
because you want to see us stretching, I'm sure.
and you want to see Dr. Gubernick will be on there. He's our
Oh.
resident chiropractic care.
Yes,
on all of his little
yes,
special things. So
yeah.
that would be fun. So sometime in the future, and just make sure you're doing that for your quality of play. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
that's it.
Yep.
Fitness,
Be healthy.
health, be healthy. And we hope that we inspire you to enjoy, the love of pickleball
And,
like
yeah.
we do. So
Yeah, chase your passions. There
chase
you
your
go.
passions. All
All
right.
right.
NaLa Pickleball. Yeah.
That's a take. You missed.
Oh.